All right. Hey, everyone. This is the first episode of the Real Madrid Discord server podcast. I think that's what we have for now, but name is still TBD a little bit. I just want to kick it off with like some introductions because you all don't really know us too much. So I guess I can start. Yeah, I'm Zoe. Been in the Real Madrid Discord server for a while, like lifelong Real Madrid fan. I am known for basically in that server, like roasting people in transfer talk and then talking shit about She-Hulk. Like I think those are like the two things when people when people like think about Zoe, they're like, what comes up to mind? Those are two things, and then also proud horny gang member, you know. So like that's also good. But I'll kick it off to some of the other guys for intros here. I'll hand it over to Steezy if you want to introduce yourself a bit.
Hello, I'm Steezy. I've been in the server since, well, technically 2019, but I was stuck in the verification for like a year because I was too lazy to do it. So technically 2020. Um, I've been a Real Madrid fan since World Cup 2010. That's when I saw Castilla, I mean, not Castilla, Casillas for the first time, and I just wanted to know more about him. Figured out he played for Real Madrid, and I wanted to become a Real Madrid fan because of him. So yeah, I've been watching since 2010. And I'm known in the server for, I don't know, I'm like a jack of all trades. Sometimes I'm in drama, sometimes I'm getting banned from casino, sometimes horny talk in VIP lounge. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool, cool. Thanks for the intro. Vedant, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Vedant, and I joined the server back in 2019, and I've been here for like two stints. So in the first part, I was not that much active, but now I'm like on the server 24/7. People are asking me like, when do you fucking sleep? I've been active so much now that I'm challenging the number one spam candidate, Sponge in the spam there. So, like, whenever you hop on the server, you might find me active, and people ask me that how you stay active while you're working.
Yeah, yeah. This guy's hours are insane. I feel like, some of these people, some of the people also on the server, just as a like kind of a side note here, is that I'm in American hours and I just see people online from different parts of the world and I just assume they're American. Like I thought for the longest time, like when I first saw Vedant that he was like American for some reason, just because of his hours. But no, no, it turns out he's
Because he's on
somewhere else.
24/7.
Yeah, yeah.
The
So
grind
yeah,
never stops. Grind never stops.
yeah, man, you got to get that spam Andor. But I guess kind of,
Wave mer
uh,
He's a wave merchant.
yeah, he really is. Yeah. But kind of transitioning here, like we have a set of topics here. So first thing we wanted to cover today was the Athletic game week, which was probably one of the most, I don't want to say memorable because that's not the right word. Like one of the more notorious game weeks, I think, looking back as my time as a Real Madrid fan. To give a little bit of context for people out of the loop, I don't think most people are out of the loop, but last week there was a huge match against Atleti for Real Madrid. The game week is going on, progressing, and Koke, Atleti's captain, I believe he's their captain. Could be wrong on that, but Atleti's captain gives a pre-match interview regarding the match. They're covering a bunch of things, and his interview is about to end. And I forgot the reporter's name, but she is a very well-renowned La Liga reporter. Kind of eggs on, trying to get a quote for the match. She knew what she was doing, but she basically asks Koke about Vinicius's dancing. And Vinny, for people who don't know, loves to dance. Great dancer, by the way. I could never move like that, even if I tried really hard. But she asked him about Vinny's dancing, and he says, "Hey, if Vinny does that at the Metropolitano, it's going to cause problems. Like he's going to get into trouble. There's going to be things that happen there." So that happens. People come out support Vinny. They're like, "Okay, what are you doing, man? Like it's celebrating. You watch Griezmann do it for so many years, never said anything. Whatever." The next day, Pedro Bravo, who's the president of the Football Association or Agents Association in Spain, comes out and makes a statement basically, and paraphrasing it, he essentially compared Vinny to a monkey, right? Which it is a phrase in Spain and in Spanish in general, but you have to understand the context here. And it was definitely there was something going on there. That's at least my take on it. But he knew what he was doing. And that creates this huge backlash, which leads into the game. And then you have the last part of this is you have Atleti supporters, before the game, pulling up racist dolls, calling out racist chants, just doing all types of stuff while like the media kind of turns a blind eye to it. So that's the context as to kind of what happened in my narration of it. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on like what you thought while all of this was going on, and really like what was on your mind. So I guess Vedant, I'll start with you on this. Like, what did you think of this entire situation?
So it's clear that the problem of racism hasn't been addressed by La Liga as much as it has been addressed by the other leagues. Premier League has taken a stand on this. We've seen it time and again that before the matches they always show no room for racism and all that. Such things are not like visible in La Liga. Even when they were taking the knee in La Liga previous year against racism, that time also many people were ridiculing this cause that why you are taking the knee and everything. So it's up to interpretation, but I feel that Spain is still living in the shadow of the General Franco, and they've not escaped the shadows there. Atletico Madrid has not banned the ultras, which is like something that Real Madrid did back in 2000 when Florentino Perez came in his first term. And these ultras are, I won't say racist, but a large part of them are like hardcore old fans, and a large part of them is racist. They do not prefer outsiders. They prefer Spanish players. They have a certain degree of hatred for them. So it shows when you see the images that were being posted around, when you see the videos that were circulating. It's not like it's made out of nothing. Everybody saw the images. Everybody saw the monkey dolls that were being shown around. So it's a despicable situation, and La Liga and Atletico both have like published statements that they'll do this, they'll do that. But I think it's a bit too late. Like Atletico took almost a week to publish their statement that we condemn these fans, we'll hold them responsible. After the like Spain Prime Minister, the guy who's an Atletico fan, said that my club should not be supported by such guys. So I think the club should do more, and such statements like I don't think I hold Koke truly responsible because his first response was okayish, but then the journalist, it's issue of the journalists, so they poked him further, and then he had to give such a response. He could have said his words better, but the journalist poked him further. What Pedro Bravo said is completely stupid. Like there's definitely an agenda behind it, and there's no excusing that. So yeah, that's my two thoughts on that.
Yeah, I completely agree with your take. I think, Steezy, one thing I wanted to ask you about this is it seemed like in Spain, especially during the match, the reporting in the press was very kind of like turning a blind eye to it. A lot of the coverage was regarding, like the game itself, like what happened in the game, fights during the game, but like nobody was talking about all the chants that were going on in the stadium. I think, one thing I wanted to get your take on here is that would never happen in the US. Like imagine, LeBron James is playing and stadiums are like chanting that, or like something like that. Like what did you think about that situation? And yeah, just in general, like it seems like ignorance from the Spanish media.
I feel like it extends to all over Europe. They tend to play pretty coy when it comes to racism. They like shoving it under the rug, basically. As you can see, like all the questions were about like, oh, the game and this and that, but not really like. It seems like Ancelotti was trying to avoid the topic also, and it's a bit disgraceful. It feels like we're never gonna get anything done if we keep on like trying to be coy about it and avoiding the topic. And yeah, like you said, it's like very different to like in the United States. That would never happen over there. Like I feel like players over there, like in the United States, they have more power in the media, through social media, like in Twitter. Like I feel like they have much more impact than players in Europe have. I don't know. That's just my point on it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good way to put it because here it feels like not only do players have more power, but also like the backlash towards racism is just taken way more seriously. Like saying the things
Yeah.
that Pedro Bravo said, like imagine if the some lead agent in the US said that like in public, even if it was like there's plenty of, by the way, I know it's a saying in Spanish, but there's plenty of similar types of sayings in English which have been completely excluded from language here because of the connotations behind them. So it's not just like a language thing. I feel like here, right? It's definitely more than that and bigger than that. And I think yeah, my final take on it is it just shows how far
Uh,
everything gets away.
do you remember? Oh, this is a little bit off topic, but do you remember that one brand that like had a shirt that said like monkeying around or something? And the model that they used for that shirt was like a little black kid. Do you remember how much backlash that cost?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
that
all
was.
over the
Mhm.
Instagram and social media. It wouldn't like that wouldn't slide over here basically.
Yeah, yeah, that was. I remember that. I'm pretty sure it was H&M. Like that.
Yeah.
That's so. Yeah, yeah, that's a great example. Yeah, perfect example there that shows it. But I guess like, did you have any final thoughts on this before we go into the game, or we can kind of transition over there?
Oh, I just wanted to say that I kind of expect this to happen. I don't know if you guys saw, but like on Spanish Twitter, it was brewing like since the Real Madrid versus Espanyol game. Atleti supporters, the Spanish ones on Twitter, they basically like, oh, vamos a quebrarle la pierna, which translates to we should break him a leg, or like they were like, oh, I wouldn't be mad if the stadium gets shut down, like as long as like we injure Vini or something. Like they were basically gearing it on, like, okay, let's injure Vini so he can't dance anymore. You already know how Atletico Madrid fans are. They're hardcore. They love violence. They love anything bad. And I feel like people say that you shouldn't blame Koke, but I think he knew what he was doing with this. He was just, angering the fans even more. So yeah.
Yeah, I I think
They're basically
go ahead, Vedant. Go ahead.
they're basically spewing vitriol at this point. Just they are salty because they lost at their own stadium and they can't do anything about it. So they just and
Yeah.
I've seen many fans online saying that when we return back to Bernabeu, that time Atleti won't have much to play, and Real will be in most competitions fighting for the top position. So we should just break Vinny at that point, and we should make him regret for doing whatever he did this time against us.
Yeah, I
Also, one more thing I want to say.
go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Oh, did any of you
Yeah,
guys
good.
read about like the post-match drama?
With Vinny's agent, right? Like, or the
Oh,
Chiringuito.
no. So
The Chiringuito stuff.
no, no, no. Oh, well, actually, that too. We can cover that too. But I read something about like Zhao Felix waiting in the halls, like after he got taken out, and that he was waiting for Vini in the halls, and that they started like arguing over the dancing apparently, and that Vini brought up Pedro Porro, which if you guys don't know is Zhao's girlfriend's like boy best friend, and there's been like a lot of like rumors on the media about that, and he got really mad, and Coca intervened, and they started like shoving each other, and like Vini started dancing in the halls, and then like everyone wanted to fight him, so he ran to the locker rooms. I don't know if you guys read that or how true it is, but it was pretty funny to look at.
I read like a completely different thing. Like I read that most of the players in the like in the tunnel leading to the locker room, they like embraced each other, and that they were talking about how the match had gone and how the stands and everything, about the racism stuff. So I like read a completely 180-degree turn from what you have just told me.
I
It just
Yeah, I
shows
don't know
that
how true it is.
how reliable the media is these days. Like how much you can believe on what is being printed out there. This bullshit that they spew everywhere.
the
no,
the
yeah,
only proof that the only proof the guy has is that when he tweeted that the official Atleti account asked him to delete those posts because he was like spewing confidential information. So I don't know if that's true or fake or anything, but it's definitely a funny read.
that is funny. That is funny for sure. And I think, I will never blame someone. Like, I feel like Spanish media is just all over the place, and like the amount of energy it takes to fact check is just impossible. So, you know what? I'll
Oh
believe
yeah.
both of your renditions of that story, because I could see both of them being 100% true just based on how it is. But I think the one last thing I wanted to cover there is that I saw not a lot of Madrid fans were doing this, but post match, Vedant kind of touched on this, but like there's this entire notion that Atleti are coming to the Bernabeu and they're gonna play us with nothing to play for, and like you know, some Real Madrid fans that I've seen were like, Vinny shouldn't have done this. He's now going to be targeted. He's going to go out at the end of the season, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want to say that I honestly find that like really, really wrong, because some things are bigger than the matches themselves, right? Like I feel like certain things you need to take a stance against, and Vinny and Rodrigo dancing on the graves of Atleti after all of what their fans were chanting, all of the pre-lead into that match. it just fits. I don't care if Felipe and you know, Felix ex Pedro Porro or whoever, you know, just comes into the Bernabeu trying to break Vinny's legs. If that's how they want to play, then the league needs to protect our players. But this was the right stance to take, and I think those were 100% the right actions to take. And I don't understand how our fans are saying that. Like, it's just really weird to me. But anyways, transitioning into the game itself, because the game was quite memorable. Well, actually, I don't know if memorable is the right term, but quite dramatic.
Ah, memorable.
It it
This
had
is
its
one of
moments.
those games where like this is one of those games where like the drama like overshadowed basically what happened in the
Yeah,
match, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
Madrid derby. What do you expect? It's going to be a boring match. Everybody knows that.
true,
You're
true,
playing Atletico de Madrid.
true, true. I guess just to start off with the first 15 20 minutes, I don't know if we really even want to cover that. I'm saying before the Madrid goal, like it was Atleti were having most of the ball, but like they weren't really doing much with it. Typical like shit housing. I wanted to get your
Yeah,
thoughts on that first goal. Like really great sequence of play. You know, Tchouaméni ends up finding Rodrigo after Fede breaks the line. I guess I'll hand this to Vedant. Like, what did you think of that goal? Like, did you have any takeaways from that? Like going forward, that like piece of play there.
So first of all, what created the goals firstly was just Freddie's line breaking runs, and we've got so used to it. He's such a player, such a dynamic player. It's just wonderful to watch him break through like two, three passing lanes, just breeze through them like nothing. And he just cuts from the right wing inside, brings the ball to Chomeni, and the pass that Chomeni gives is just over the top of both midfielders, just in the lap of Rodrigo, just waiting there for him to just finish. And Rodrigo's first touch finish is, as we already know, we've seen it so many times. Mr. Champions League, Mr. Big Match player, he's the crucial guy. So it doesn't disappoint us this time as well. And this is not the first time that Tchouaméni has done this. He's done that for Monaco as well. His passing range is just insane. Like people were comparing him to Casemiro, and I was telling it from the start. Like, he's not like Casemiro. Casemiro's passing range was just abysmal. He was not that good on the ball, but Chume is quite good on the ball. Even for France recently, like in the previous match, he had a beautiful ball over the top of the entire defense. I don't know who got the ball. I think it was some midfielder. I don't remember, but he gave a wonderful like through pass between over the top of the defense. So I hope that he keeps bringing this ball through because after Cruz and Modric are gone, we'll need somebody to do this, and Chumeni could be a very, very nice player to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's I agree with a lot of those points. I guess taking that too many part and handing it to you, Steezy, what do you think are like some of the main differences there? I mean, we touched on this a little bit in our practice podcast, but like, how do you feel about the entire transition from Casemiro to Tchouaméni, and like, what do you think? Like some of the advantages that we have in our team are now that Casemiro isn't there. Like you know, goat and all, but like Tchouaméni brings to the table.
it's just really nice to have a technical defensive midfielder. While it was like great having Casemiro, I feel like Chomeni, he's not only bringing up like the same like defense, well, not the same maybe, but pretty good defensive numbers that Casemiro used to bring. But he also brings excellent passing. Like you just saw that pass that he gave to Rodrigo. It was like very Cruz esque, and it's like we have like a Javi Alonso region, and it's so nice to have him back, to have someone like that back. Yeah, it's just really nice. I feel like he expands our play. He makes our midfield even better than it already is now, and he's linking up well with Modric and Cruz. It's like it's almost like I don't know. He's been here for 5 years already. He's playing like that already, and I just love to have him on the team.
Yeah, I think yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that's a sentiment of a lot of Real Madrid fans right now is that we kind of timed this transition perfectly. Like it's
Yeah,
Casemiro is a legend, you know, like we're never gonna forget that guy and what he did. But Tchouaméni is like, I think honestly, and I hate saying this because I know I'm gonna get backlash for it, but hot takes, hot podcasts, you know, I think Tchouaméni is a level above what Casemiro ever was, like in terms of what he brings to the table. I know a bit of a hot take there, but I think on the ball, he allows like everyone else around him to play higher up the pitch. Kroos and Modric are able to explore more now. They're able to hold different positions and like really allow us to control the match better. Whereas with Casemiro, it was a bit of we weren't as good on ball. We were still very good on ball, but not quite as good. But I think going forward, we had a
Uh,
second goal. Oh, go ahead, Vedant. Yeah, you wanted to get in.
yeah, you want a hot take? That's not a hot take. I'll give you a hot take. In my opinion, Chumeni is the best defensive midfielder in the world currently.
I mean, I don't know.
That's
I
a
don't
hot
know.
take.
I don't know if that's a hot take.
I can't. I don't know. I can't really say that's a hot take. I mean, I think he's the most informed CDM in the world right now. I won't lie. I mean, I
I
can't
mean,
name anybody else.
there's not many who are
Can
playing
you?
better at the moment. Casemiro has not
Yeah,
been playing, as we can see from Manchester United yet.
yeah, yeah. He hasn't been
Conte has
playing in.
been inside and
I don't know.
outside.
Conte's injured, right?
Injured, yeah, in and out, in and out.
You,
So he's out.
I mean, you could say
Kimmich maybe.
Bruno Guimaraes. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but I don't think he's a
Bruno
level above
Gimenez.
Chouameni yet.
Yeah, no, Bruno Gimenez is kind of good, but not
No.
there yet. I guess Declan Rice
Yeah.
hasn't been the same this season, so no.
Yeah.
Uh but
And
Kimmich isn't really a
Kimmich, yeah,
CDM anymore. I feel like he's
he
been more
plays for.
advanced in recent years.
Yeah,
He's like
yeah, yeah,
in Nagelsmann's system, he's been playing more
yeah.
attacking, more offensively than years
More
past.
box to box, more box to box. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But Bayern don't really play like a true pivot system. Really, they just
yeah,
have like two CMs like pressed up, and they try to control the entire pitch. Like it's a
Yep.
different type of thing. But yeah, I think that's a good shout. I honestly don't even think that's like a hot take at the moment. I think a lot of people would agree with you that have been watching and following too many season. But yeah, really impressive signing. Really impressed with this guy. Like it's much like Alaba, where he just came in, fit the culture perfectly. I think Rudiger has had some mistakes, not gotten the same amount of time, but I can say the same thing basically about Rudiger. Fits the culture like right away. So yeah, great signing from Tchouaméni. I think the next part of the match that's memorable, obviously, is the second goal that we had where Vinny breaks away and Fede comes and finishes. I think we all kind of know how that goal went. I don't know if any of you want to cover it, or we can, I think kind of what I wanted to get into here was like Fede's importance on the team. But before that, do you have any thoughts about the second goal, either of you?
No, not really. I mean, not much to
what
say.
I
Just
wanted to say
Valverde,
is
what a
that
player.
uh, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, second goal, pretty straightforward goal. Modric does Atletico's Madrid's defense for like the 700th time in his career. Like we've seen it. Uh, to bridge that gap, Fede Valverde, right? I think this guy, he's always been very, very good. Like, I think his first season with a huge role in the team. I think in 18-19 he had a pretty big role, but 19-20 onwards, like amazing player. Right now, in this right wing role, and a lot of people say, I think the part where I've been disagreeing with people is that they say Fede should be a CM, and I think that is his best position, to be fair. But right now, can you really like name more than like two, three players better than him at right wing? Like in terms of the overall impact that he's giving to the match. And this guy right now is probably a top 5, 10 footballer in the world. I mean, it's just been amazing. What are your thoughts on his impact this season, his improvement this season, and also about that right wing discussion, like going forward? I guess I'll start with Steezy on this one.
Oh, well, Valverde is just like such a great player to have on a team. He's one of those players. I mean, you can call him like a total footballer. He can play anywhere. If you asked him to play striker, he could do a pretty good job at it. If you asked him to play center back, he could do it. He can play anywhere. His pace, his athleticism. He's just such a good all around player. And I used to think that like center midfield was his best position. Like, okay, he's like a really good box to box, but wow, he's like really shut me up this season playing right winger. I was just one of those people that was complaining about like, oh, we're going into the season with no right winger, but like we're probably gonna play Rodrigo there. But I actually want Valverde to keep on playing there because he's just so freaking good. He can just like blast through like the fullbacks with his pace, and he just wears them down the whole freaking match. And he's just so good. And like you said, like I can't name like many better like right wingers that could be like starting over him right now. Like he's just so crucial to our system. Like the only one I could probably name is like like Mbappe. If he was playing right wing, he would be the only one that could probably start over Valverde right now because he's just that good. And yeah,
Yeah, I think just the combination of everything, like you said, right? The athleticism, defensive coverage, pressing ability. He's one of the best ball carriers in the league. Like I listed some stats on the server the other day. He's the only player in La Liga who is top 10 in goals plus assists per 90, shot creating actions per 90, and I believe what was the other stat? It was like uh, ball recoveries per 90, I think. So like those three, he's top 10. And amongst like all of the players who qualify in like the top 20 of all of those stats, he's pretty much like first in every single defensive action. Like people are comparing him kind of to like I saw some comparisons to Lampard, like that type of player, but like this guy truly is having one of the best box to box type of seasons ever. Like this guy's insane, and what we're witnessing right now is like pure greatness. So yeah, really been impressed with him. Vedant, do you have any thoughts there at all, or do you want to move on to like the next part?
I think that so. I think the best comparison for him might just be Di Stefano, like the player who used to play everywhere. Like the coach used to put Di Stefano anywhere on the pitch, and he used to just blow the opposition's mind the way he used to play. So I think the closest comparison to Fede Valverde right now might just be Di Stefano. Also, I feel that right now, Valverde's best position still might be right of the midfield. And if we put Rodrigo on the right wing and Fede on the right midfield, it might be the best combination we have. Because I feel that Fede on the right midfield gives us a much more important dynamism and on the fullback position as well as on the wing. If we put Fede on the wings, then our attack becomes a little too asymmetric for my liking towards the left wing. So I feel that Rodrigo starting on the right wing and Fede in the right midfield spot is actually a better position for a lineup because both of them at the moment look completely undroppable to me. The way both of them are performing, and when Benzema returns, I don't know how Carlo Ancelotti is going to set up his lineups because it's going to be a big headache for him.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good problem to have. I think you can go either way right there, where basically Fede is playing regardless in any lineup that we have if he's healthy. The real like I think thing that you have to choose between at full health, suppose it's a Champions League final, is would you rather have Modric at CM or Rodrigo at right wing? And what I mean there is that if Modric is CM, Fede takes the right wing. If Rodrigo is right wing, then Fede takes RCM. And I think in the bigger matches, I slightly disagree with you. Where I still think Modric is extremely valuable at that spot because he just offers you so much control and like those moments of magic. But Rodrigo's getting close to deserving a full time spot now. Where even if Benzema's once comes back pretty soon here, a few weeks, I think Rodrigo's really going to have like a compelling case to be taking a starting position. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I guess kind of going into the later parts of the match, we have some other stuff to cover, honestly, in this podcast. So we might need to kind of speed run through it. Atleti score a shithouse goal. Hermoso gets sent off. I don't know. Do you either of you have very strong thoughts about the latter stages of this match or anything that you wanted to cover before we move on to the other stuff?
I think we should move on. We've kind of spent a lot of time more than expected on this game.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I guess going quickly, we don't need to. We had some other games here lined up that we wanted to go through. I wanted to talk about the Leicester match, where I think Spurs won like 6-2 or something. Just quickly get some
Yes.
thoughts on what you guys thought about the match, and then also what your thoughts are on Conte's project so far and the progress he's made at Tottenham. So either of you can kick it off.
I guess I'll go, but complete Leicester demolition. It's just that Son hat trick. Wow, he scored like two goals out of the box, and they're freaking beautiful curls. Like now you see why everyone calls him Sonaldo. He's been getting a lot of stick this season because he hasn't. I think he went 8 games without scoring, but it's just one of those periods of time where, like, for the attacker, nothing is clicking. He's having a rough start of season. It's a bit shaky. But I think he's gonna pop off in form again, like he did last season. And just wow, like it's just looking really bad for Leicester. Like you don't even know where to begin, like where to fix the team problems. Do you sack the manager, or do you blame the board for not making any signings and for getting rid of their goalkeeper, who left on a free transfer to Nice? It's just what do you where do you even start fixing that? I think how many games have they gone without like winning? I think it's 6 games without winning already. Yeah, if they keep it up, they're like for sure getting relegated. There was like a stat that showed that like the teams that lost like the first 5 games or something, they always end up getting relegated, and it's just pretty sad to see for Leicester, which is like a team that I was a little bit a fan of.
Yeah. I think Leicester are, now far enough removed away from that Premier League championship where I think their project, you kind of start to see like the decisions that they made and like the turnout there. Um, that you win that championship and a lot of, to be fair, like Mahrez was definitely leaving. They were able to keep Vardy, and they obviously lost Conte as well. I think
Yeah,
these teams with these Cinderella runs, the trend that I see a lot is that they try to sell their players at a good price so that they can make money and reinvest it into the team. It makes sense, right? Because they don't want to break wage structure. They don't want to end up losing the player for nothing once their contract winds up. I get it. But what I would argue is that they don't actually do a good enough job of trying to retain these players. Like, I don't understand why wage structure is as important as it is to these clubs. Because, for example, suppose you win the Premier League, you get like what 100 million to 200 million euros for winning the Premier League. I think back then, like in 2015 or so, you can use that money to improve the wages of your star players and keep them around. And I think what happened for Leicester is that they really tried to play the margins too much, and now they're left with a squad that's quite frankly just not really even competitive enough for a mid-table team. A lot of their investments have flopped in terms of player retention. So yeah, it's kind of a shame to see because yeah, I was kind of a fan of them as well, based on their Cinderella run that they made, but I guess not really in the best situation right now. Vedant, I wanted to get your thoughts on like what you think of Spurs, Conte Spurs in particular, and like the progress that he's been making there.
So with the, I think if you remember where Conte picked up, he came up after a very disappointing stint by, was it, who was the Wolves manager? Nuno Espirito, I think, yeah. So he picked up after Nuno left, and they were in a very bad spot then, and we saw a huge manager bounce after Conte came up. He pushed them upwards, and they have changed a lot since Nuno left. And since Pochettino's, we can compare Pochettino's Spurs to this Spurs. And Pochettino's Spurs were never pragmatic. They played a good attacking style of football. They were good to look with the eye. They passed the eye test, but they didn't win many games. They didn't bring out 1-0 victories. They didn't scratch out wins. This Spurs is a very different entity from that. Conte has made them into a machine. I feel like he like they know how to grind out results. Then it's these kind of teams that can actually win championships. It's typical contest stuff. Like you can bring he can promise you results if you let the like pragmatic football go through, like, defensive minded football. If you let it pass through, then he can definitely bring you results. He's changed the way they play. Perisic is such an impressive player. I've always liked him. I loved him when he was playing in Serie A too. So Perisic was a great signing for them, in my opinion, and it's going to change their game style even more. Son hasn't been the same like last season when he exploded completely towards the second part, but we saw what he can do even off the bench. Richarlison has been a good signing for them. Richarlison, we expect to do more coming in the future, and they have a lot of options this year compared to previous years when their only options off the bench were like Lucas Moura and like that's it, I guess, in attack. They didn't have many great options. So to back up Kane, and this time maybe the tides are changing. Spurs can do something better. They definitely have a good project building up, and hopefully the board continues to back Conte.
Yeah, yeah, I
I have
think.
a question for you guys.
Mhm.
What do you guys think is up with Antonio Conte and his like European record? Because I'm looking at some stats right here, and it says that out of like 36 matches that he's done in the Champions League, he's only won like about 12 matches, and the furthest he has qualified in the Champions League is quarterfinals. So, what do you guys think is like the problem with that? Do you guys think he just doesn't like care enough about the competition as he does with the league, or what is up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think part of it is like just opposition comparatively to the teams that he's been managing. Like he's managed some really good sides, but If you think about it, I think like what, four of his losses come to Real Madrid. Like I think four of them come to Barcelona. Like he's played
Bayern
really
too.
good. Bayern as well, right? So he's had some really shit luck with the groups, and that luck also comes from Serie A right now. Like if you play second or third in Serie A, you're almost guaranteed to be playing one of the best teams from La Liga or the Premier League, right? So yeah, been really tough groups. I think from a tactical perspective, he often like gets the small things wrong. I think like his substitutions are usually lacking a little bit, and in those high pressure situations, like if you aren't able to adjust tactics or if you aren't able to make the right substitution at the right time, you're going to lose games. Like this was the thing that Zidane was probably the best I've ever seen at, is that he could adjust on the fly like no one else, right? Like if he was wrong with the setup, he would make the change right away, or like what at the right time in the match. I think Carlo is very good at this. Even Pep and Klopp, for their struggles in Europe at times, are much better at this than Conte. That's, I think, the part of the game where he struggles the most. Whereas if you give him 38 games in a league, he's going to set up his system and he's just going to play a system. And in a league, yeah, sure, if you choke two or three results, it's fine. In the Champions League, not so much. And I think he's just kind of had some shit luck there. So that's my take on it. Vedant, did you have anything to add there?
I also feel that in knockout games, like even in the cups as such, he's not that good. Like in the knockout games, in the two-legged games, he's not that good. When the teams figure out what to do against his team, they see the pattern of how to beat them, then they find it much easier. In the leagues, like as such, you only have one game to face them. Then they go to a new team. Then they go to a new team. Then the next team. In this, you have two legs against the same team. So it's a different affair from what happens in the Premiership or in any other league. That's why I feel that when you face a team twice for the same time, you can actually exploit the weaknesses much better compared to in the league table. That's why when a team gets the blueprint of how to play against a Conte team, they can implement it quite easily because it's usually the same. Like whatever you do, if you play Inter, if you play Chelsea, if you play now even this Tottenham, it's the same thing again and again. So once you know how to beat once, it will be the same again and again. So it's the same pattern. That's why most of the managers can do it quite predictably.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think that's part of the reason why we've been so good in Europe, is because we are people criticize the lack of attacking patterns, and it kind of does hurt us against some of these park buses. Not so much recent seasons, but like last few years it did. We don't have any attacking patterns, so you can study your game plan as much as you want, but like at some point in the game, Militao is going to be playing striker while Modric is playing goalkeeper. Like you never really know what to expect. Like there's the Carlo ball at its finest. But uh,
No
it's
tactics, just vibes, bro.
yeah, just vibes, bro. Like you got to just do what you got to do and get the W. But yeah, I think those are some good points on Conte. I know we had like some other games to get to, but we've been recording for like about 38 minutes here. So I wanted to kind of, if it's all right with you guys, just skip into some of the server talk and then call it a show.
Let's go into it.
All
Sure.
right. Sure. Okay. Let's start with the entire Mort drama. Detective Zishan. That that was, like that scene in what is Avengers 1, like Endgame 1, where Doctor Strange is sitting there looking at all the possibilities. That's literally like how mind blown I was when Zishan found that dude. Like I know other people are like, dude, it's just common sense, like he was gonna find him eventually. I'm like, no, bro. Like there's, how many users there are on Twitter? Like there's like billions of users. Like Zishan needs to go and become a detective. I don't know what that dude's up to now, but basically the gist of it, for anyone who missed it, was Zishan found this Twitter account which basically was like, I love women's football, like Spurs, Real Madrid, and he was just like, dude, Mort, this
the
is
the
you.
me the Misa profile picture.
Oh yeah, yeah, with a Misa profile picture, right? Like this guy was able to find this. Like if you gave this task, like for example, if you gave this task to like a Google AI, it still wouldn't be able to find it as fast as Zishan. Like that was insane. That was absolutely insane. And he was able to find that. And that user, apparently, I wasn't in the server when that happened, but that Sam Winchester user was like very like problematic and had gotten banned from I think the Spurs Discord or something. So they got banned from the Real Madrid Discord as well. But your thoughts
Yeah,
on it? That insane situation. Thoughts?
that was just so random. I would have never expected that to happen. And the funniest part was that Moore was like pretending to be a completely new person for 2 years. It was just he just completely changed like his patterns of talking. Like he was talking like a different person, using like different vocabulary. Like he managed to change up like the maturity of how he used to talk. It was just so insane. I don't know. He caught me off guard. Really, I feel betrayed in a sense.
Yeah. Vedant, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, so when this happened, it happened around, I guess, 2 p.m. or something, Indian Standard Time. And I was at work and I was just scrolling through Discord like I usually do when I'm at work. And this shit starts popping up. And I'm reading the chat. I'm like, what? Zishan found what? Yeah. yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But is this really it? So I asked if this is really true. And Sponge was active right now. And he says, let me check, let me see what happens. Then a mod from Spurs. So actually, what happened is a mod from the Spurs subreddit, Spurs Discord, came over to our Discord, and he started talking with Mod. And Mod was not acknowledging him first. Like he was pretending like I don't know you, who are you? I don't know who you are. Then he tagged Sam. So Sam is also in our server. There's a guy named Sam. If I guess everybody knows who Sam is. So he tagged Sam, the Spurs mod, and he thought that is Sam Winchester and not Mod. So he tagged him and he said to him, "Why are you here?" And so then the Sponge told that Spurs mod that no, this is not Sam. Sam is actually Mod, playing like he's taken the persona of Mod. So then the Spurs mod told everything that yeah, he said some weird racist stuff in our server. That's why we banned him. And this is his old persona and shit like that. So apparently Sam Winchester is completely different from what Mod Rainey was. And he doesn't have that many shit takes and that many, Mr. Beast jokes to spam.
Dude, imagine I could just totally see like I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Split with that like dude that has like all those
Yeah,
weird
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
personalities.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What if
M. Night
what if
Shyamalan.
what if that's what's happening? This is my theory, all right? This is kind of a hot take. I think Sam Winchester, Mort, and Sponge are all the same person. They're just split personality. What do you guys think about that?
Sponge.
uh, I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw the DMs that he had with Pac, but Sam or Mort, whoever you want to call him, he said that Mort was the real persona and that he was just talking unfilteredly, and that like, apparently he's like immature like that. That's like his real person, and that Sam was the fake. I don't know what to believe anymore, but I just thought that was interesting. So the
So
Mort that
Mort
we
is
saw
not
was the real
actually
person.
so Mort is actually not a Trump supporter and he's not a racist. He's actually a Spurs fan who likes to troll people.
And
What the
Mr. and
fuck?
Mr. Beast videos. You can't forget the Mr. Beast
Mister,
videos,
yeah,
okay?
yeah. Mister.
What a story, man. What a story. Incredible stuff. This server never fails to disappoint me, you know. It's just insane. People there's a lot of characters. I guess getting into more characters, we also had another drama this week in which uh
We have
involving
a
maybe
prime suspect here.
uh, Comunicado Oficial, Pac has left Horny Gang. You know, what are you guys' thoughts on that, man? That's a huge loss for the gang.
well, I guess you can blame me for that. I had been making a lot of I had been making a lot of tags of Pac saying such shit. I was kind of collecting them like Thanos was collecting the Infinity Stone. I was like, oh, okay, I got the pedo Pac tag now. I have the racist Pac tag. I have the bestiality Pac tag, and I think that was too much for Pac.
One tag too far. One tag too far.
Yeah, I think that was the bestiality tag was the last straw for me.
Dude, just imagine his thought process. He's like, racist tag, that's cool, man. That's fine. Sexist tag, whatever. Pedo tag, fine. But bestiality, that's no,
So
absolutely
that's where
not.
that's where you cross the line. That's where you cross the line.
So, So yeah, Pac is gone. I think he'll be back eventually, you know, like he was a pretty
I
active
give him a
member.
month.
Yeah, yeah.
I give him a month max. Yeah.
Honestly, it's probably good for your
Yeah,
mental health to take breaks every now and then from that place, like honestly, anyway. So I hope he comes back. I miss that guy. I think that was kind of everything. I know we wanted to talk about some loanees, but the time's kind of we've been recording for a while here. So yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
No, no, that was like pretty good. That was nice being able to talk. We
yeah,
spent a lot of time on the team match, so that'll give us like a good like grounds to work on from now on, like how much we should split our time and like talk about the matches. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Like this was a great first podcast. Like for everything we covered, it
Yes,
was like
sir.
really sound takes. And
cool.
it was great recording.
Awesome.
That was fun.
Well, I want to thank you guys, and I want to thank all the listeners. I'm aiming for 5 likes. If you guys hit 5 likes next time, instead of 45 minutes, we'll record for 50 minutes. Okay, so for all the viewers out there,
Let's go.
like,
five
Hit that
likes.
like
like, share,
button.
and
Hit that
subscribe.
like button.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Like,
Turn
share, and subscribe.
notifications
Don't
on.
forget to hit that like button.
100% of our viewers are not subscribed
And
right now.
and subscribe to our Patreon, please.
Yes, yes. We need all of it, man. We need all of it. All right. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.